Hi guys, I'm Beth and this is Read Remark. Today we're going to talk about The Cactus by Sarah Haywood. Let's talk for a moment about prickly women. We find one of these women in the book The Cactus by Sarah Haywood. The main character, Susan, is, well, a prickly woman. She's like a cactus. She doesn't really have any warmth in her. She's very standoffish, very logical by the book, just not really a caring, warm, inviting person. Of course, we know from the outset that there are going to be things that happen in her life that disrupt this cactushood of hers. I'm not spoiling anything when I say that she finds out early on in the book that she is pregnant. She also loses her mom, and then has an ensuing legal battle with her brother over the will. There are just a few things that happen in the book that start to erode at the prickliness of this woman. And of course, she meets a guy. She meets a guy who, for some unforeseen reason, takes a shine to Susan and thinks that she's the one. Of course, it doesn't hurt that she's beautiful. It describes her as looking kind of like Kylie Minogue. So that definitely helps with people still being attracted to her, even though she's horrible to be around. There are a couple things about this book that I was kind of like, such as what I mentioned before, Rob's affinity for Susan. What did he see in her? Other than her beautifulness, what was it that made him shine to her so much? Of course, we saw glimpses of her humanity throughout the book, but we also saw a lot of sort of vile attitude that she had. So I don't quite understand what attracted him to her in the first place, although it was kind of nice to see this relationship developing. Also, this protracted legal battle that she had with her brother over the mom's will was kind of tiresome. Every time it would cut to one of those scenes, I was like, can we just hurry and get through this so we can get back to the story? But despite those shortcomings, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Now, it's not the most memorable story of all time. It's a story as old as The Taming of the Shrew. Prickly woman gets softened by life and a man. It's not exactly the most original idea, but that's okay. It doesn't have to move literary mountains to be worth my time. It's still a good read. Kind of forgettable, but a nice way to spend some time. So if you are in the market for books about prickly and complicated women who find redemption, here are a couple of recommendations for you. The first one is Eleanor Oliphant is Perfectly Fine. Oh, how I loved Eleanor. Of course, her stiff attitude and her trouble communicating with other people comes from really deep-seated trauma that she's experienced in her life. But I fell in love with Eleanor, and I can't wait to see it turned into a movie, and I really hope that they do her justice and her story justice, because it's such a good book and it's really fun to see her turn around. My favorite scene in that book is where she's going to a dinner party and doesn't know what to bring, so she literally goes into her fridge and grabs half a packet of American cheese slices and takes it to the party. It was like the hostess gift. So really good book about a woman who has a hard time humaning. Another one I want to recommend is not a book at all. It's actually a movie, and it's called Young Adult, starring Charlize Theron. It is written by Diablo Cody, but I noticed that I think of Diablo Cody as a writer first and a movie person second, because the stories that she creates and the characters and the complexities go way beyond the 2 hours that we spend with them in the movie. These are deep stories that really dig into parts of humanity that people don't always talk about. So it's really interesting to see what she comes up with. So in the story of Young Adult, we actually see a woman who is primed and poised to redeem herself and doesn't. And it's such an interesting character. Charlize Theron plays this woman whose maturity kind of stopped back in high school. She is still living in her glory days of being pretty and popular and dating the most popular boy in school and having all of these just really surface level emotions that don't go deeper than that. she's in her 30s, but still has this sort of suspended maturity. So we follow her and what a vile person she is and how badly she treats everyone, and how everything she does is just kind of calculating, almost as if she's making these steps as a character in a book. It's just so good. Highly underrated movie. So The Cactus by Susan Haywood. Not the best book in the world, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be a literary masterpiece. It's still a good book to spend some time with. Let me know what you thought of it if you read it, and I will check you all next time. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.